This conference will now be recorded.
Hello and welcome. I'm Paul Shakeshaft and I'm here to talk about SAP Content as a Service by Proceed. I'm going to give you a quick overview of who Proceed are, our experiences and what we do, and then I'll go straight into the SAP Content as a Service offering that we provide to our clients. So, who are Proceed? Proceed have been working on and with SAP for over 20 years. We have over 650 customers worldwide, being headquartered in the UK with offices in and around various locations from Europe, North America, Africa and Asia. We have very strong partner network that includes obviously SAP, cloud hosting companies, software partners, complementary partners, and we were very pleased to be awarded SAP Gold Partner. And as you can see, we've got some quite impressive customers on our past and present there. So what do? We only work with SAP and we specialize in SAP document and content management. SAP data management, so that's traditional data archiving, ILM, GDPR, getting your system sized right for HANA and keeping it there. And then SAP decommissioning, so that's SAP's ILM decommissioning hub, and we have our own product, Proceed Seller, which is also suitable for decommissioning both SAP and non-SAP systems. Okay, right, so straight into the interesting stuff. SAP Content as a Service. So SAP content can be a big problem for our customers. There's multiple different ways you can store the data. There's multiple different platforms you can store it on. And we quite often find clients have 2 or 3 different storage platforms in 2 or 3 different locations. And we also find clients still storing content data, so that's documents, inside their core SAP system. So every copy of their SAP database has a complete copy of their documents. So if you think about a productive system, you've got your production system, you've got your HA system, you've got your DR system. That's 3 copies of the same document hosted in 3 different places. And quite often it'll be mirrored, so it gets quite expensive to store the data there. Some content needs dedicated storage platforms that conform to different storage protocols that SAP has and uses. Your data sometimes has to be stored in geo-specific locations depending on the type of data and where your business trade is. So if you think about personal identifiable information, can it be stored in all countries? Can it only be stored in specific countries? There has to be rules around who can access it and how it's managed. Lots of rules and regulations, so it can be quite a problem getting it right, so it's stored in the right geographical location with the right controls around it. It can hold GDPR relevant data because you can store a lot of HR related information. If you're in a business to consumer sales model, you could have consumer customers on there that you need to think about what you need to do. So there's lots of issues and you need to think about how you manage the data with all the relevant regulations around that. And also when you can talk to customers, finding out who supports it, who maintains it, who manages the platform is also an issue, because the SAP technical support team aren't interested in supporting it because it's not SAP. Equally, the application team aren't happy about supporting it because it's not SAP. And it's not infrastructure either, because it's not, although it sits on the infrastructure, it's not an infrastructure product, it's a software solution. So finding someone who knows SAP, knows the infrastructure, knows the content platform, customers have a problem with that, and it bounces around between different people because they can't manage and support it because no one wants to take ownership of the support platform. So how can Proceed help? We've gone around, we've looked at the SAP certified and trusted platforms, and we've identified a platform that's best in breed solution, fully certified for both ILM and ArchiveLink and Kpro. It's fully tested, it's fully supported, it's fully maintained, and we can easily integrate the solution into your existing infrastructure. To make our clients' life easier, we've nominated each client a primary contact so that if they have any issues, problems or concerns, they can reach to their named contact immediately. If they're not available, they will have a deputy that they can reach out to as well. That person is the primary contact and they are responsible for making sure the client experience is optimal. We keep pricing simple. It's a consumption model. So you pay for what you use. You don't need to worry about how many users I've got on the system. You're literally paying a consumption model for how much data you're storing in the system. And we've built all of this on over 20 years experience delivering SAP data management and content projects. And we're committed to our customers to make sure that the solution remains future-proof. So the client doesn't need to worry about SAP bring out a new protocol, a new requirement. It will go into the platform automatically and it'll be rolled out to all clients automatically. So how does it work? Every client is given a dedicated environment. So we have no shared tenants. It's not a shared hosting platform. It's a one client, one tenant environment. We automatically mirror productive data in the primary data center and we replicate it to a secondary data center. So should anything happen, we lose our primary data center, we can fail over and the client doesn't lose any data. We automatically back the data up. So should something happen and there be an event where the client needs a restore, we can restore the data. All data is encrypted in backup, in transfer, at rest. We can host the data in any geographical location that our client asks us to. So we have hosting agreements and relationships such that any country that a client needs to host the data in, they can host the data in. They can even host the data in multiple countries if they need to, because we can have different environments for different countries to make sure the client maintains their obligation to hold the data in the right geographical location. The data at all times is owned by the client. The client has the right to instruct us to do what they want with the data. When the client terminates the contract, we are committed to destroy all copies, including backups of the data, and we will confirm to the client in writing that we have done so. And as you see, we have a very aggressive uptime for the platform. And in the event of any system failure for productive platforms, we have a very aggressive return to operation time as well. So how might this look? A typical infrastructure is shown here. So on the left-hand side, we've got the client environment, and on the right-hand side, we've got our client tenant environment. So each client will be mirrored, and they will have a similar tenant to this. We split the environment up, so we have a productive zone, we have a non-productive zone, and we have a DMZ for that client. So that's a entry point into our secured network. All data is kept separate between the clients, productive and non-productive, so you can't accidentally access the non-productive data from production, or more importantly, access your productive data from non-production. The connection from the client to us, our environment, we provide two connection options. We provide a IPsec tunnel, so that's a VPN server to protect and encrypt the data, and within that tunnel all data is transferred using HTTPS protocols, so it's double encrypted. The other option we have is a direct HTTP connection to a web broker on our system, which will then allow the clients to connect into their infrastructure For productive data, we recommend an IPsec model. For non-productive and test environments or short-term projects, then we provide the other option to our clients. So I mentioned it was future-proof. What are we doing? We're automatically applying updates. So we're patching the software, we're patching the infrastructure. We're making sure that the client doesn't need to worry about the infrastructure going out of support. It's always on a supported platform. It's always got the latest security and enhancement patches and features applied. We support SAP releases. So as SAP releases a new release, our platform is confirmed to work with that release, and we're committed to make sure that any release of SAP the platform will work with. So you don't have any issues about obsolete software, out of date infrastructure. It's just a continuing evolving platform, and the client just doesn't need to worry about it. It's a black box, and it keeps running. So as well as the core product, we've got some options that we can add on to the platform. So if the client wants to host the data in their own managed public cloud environment, we're happy to provide the platform within that platform, as long as they provide us access to manage and support the solution. So we will work with Azure, we'll work with AWS, we work with Google, and we will provide the management, support, infrastructure and software to run it on the client's own cloud infrastructure. If you've already got existing SAP content sitting in a legacy data or legacy location and you want to migrate it onto the platform, we can work with you to do that in a seamless, no downtime environment, so that all your legacy existing content servers, if you wish to, can be decommissioned and turned off, and the data is still available on our platform. If you do document scanning and you require scanning as an added feature to the platform, we can extend the offering to include scanning for you. And then I touched on this earlier. If you have a short-term project, so you're doing a proof of concept, you're doing some prototyping, you just need a short-term environment for a one-off project, we can provide that for you. We'll provide a 1 6-month fixed price, one payment contract that gives you access to the platform for 6 months. You can use it to test the platform, you can use it to run a short-term project. It's up to you, but we provide that as a commitment to our clients, so you've got other options as well as the contracts. So how does the pricing work? We agree a fixed price framework for the complete contract, which is down to data stored on the platform. The contract can be flexible. It can be 1 to 5 years in terms. And apart from the one-off setup fee to provision the infrastructure and the environment, it's fixed rate based on consumption. Every terabyte of data you store on the platform, that sets the tier that you're going to be priced from based on the frame that's agreed. If you have a non-productive instance, so we don't need to provide DR to it, you don't need the very high uptime, you want reduced uptime, we can do that, and we will discount that, and we will detail that in the framework for the pricing at the time we agree the framework for the contract. So how do we typically run a project or a client engagement? So it goes through 3 phases. We have onboarding, we have routine, and then we have termination. So onboarding is agreeing the commercials, agreeing what the client wants, signing contracts, provisioning the environment, connecting the infrastructure to the client, and if needed, migrating any content onto the platform, and working with the client support team to make sure that's as seamless and as smooth as it possibly can be. Once we go into routine operation, we monitor the platform for you. We make sure that the platform's up and running. We make sure that it's patched. We make sure that there's no operational issues with it, so that the client is comfortable they have a secure, reliable platform. We have a monthly review meeting with our clients to make sure we can discuss any issues that the client has had. We can make sure that if the client has any new future requirements, they want to extend their engagement, they want to have a short-term test system, we can discuss that. We can make sure that we're providing the client's requirement in a timely manner. And we also provide a monthly report to the client to detail what they're storing in the platform, any issues we've had on the platform, any maintenance that's been done on the platform, anything that's planned to be done on the platform. And then finally, should the client choose not to remain with us, the client always has the option to have a copy of the data that's stored on the platform. We will then, once the client has confirmed they want a copy and they've received it, or if they confirm they don't want a copy, we will then destroy all copies of the data. So that's every copy we've got on the environment, we will destroy every backup copy and we'll confirm to the client that we've done so. And then we will decommission the environment so the client systems are no longer available or running. Hopefully you've found that useful. If you've got any questions or require any further information, please feel free to contact us. Our details are shown there on the page.